So last night was the 65th annual Grammys, and it seems like Hollywood is really leaning into the imagery. So, what sparked all of this controversy around the Grammys and the imagery that was being seen at the Grammys was this performance of a song called Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras, which, I mean, just the name itself, unholy. Well, the performance, I would say, was quite unholy, and social media agreed with that. People on social media also noted that it was Madonna that introduced the performance, and while she introduced the performance, she was sporting a hairstyle that sort of looked like a pagan statue in New York City. Looking at these two images side by side, I can see where people are coming from when they're drawing this, lack of distinction in the look. So I'm going to play some clips of the performance that has people suggesting that this imagery exists in the Grammys, that Hollywood is definitely leaning into this imagery. I mean, how can you not think that? But I'm going to play it without sound so I don't get hit for copyright. Because lately I have been, even though everything I do is fair use, but this is definitely a place where I could get hit. So let's take a look at this performance last night at the Grammys. Girls in cages, the horns. It does remind me of that Little Nas video a bit. I wonder what it was like in the room while this was going on. Like, are people just like cheering, yes, queen, queen, dance, queen? So, this part, you just have to wait until the end of this video to see why this is so strange, given already a strange performance. Let's take a look.
The 65th Grammy Awards is sponsored by Pfizer.
Of course, it's sponsored by Pfizer. And given this revelation that it was Pfizer that was sponsoring the Grammys last night, people started to notice a little bit of a trend in what some of the guests were wearing. So, a Twitter user named L wrote, I get on Twitter and realize I missed the Grammys last night. I see it was either satanic or they're just dressed up as blood clots since it was sponsored by Pfizer. I mean, this was a great response because I didn't watch the red carpet, but I can see what she's getting here with making that suggestion that they look like blood clots. So in this picture, this is Sam Smith with his getup and the people around him. He kind of does look like a big blood clot. And then the other image is of Lizzo. Honestly, yeah, sort of looking like a blood clot as well. Oddly enough, maybe this was the theme. I don't think the Grammys does themes like the Met Gala does. But maybe because it was sponsored by Pfizer, that was the theme. But I gotta say, I have been noticing that pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer have been giving a lot of ad money, not to just events like, the Grammys last night. And I think there's been a few other like large events similar to the Grammys that have also been sponsored by the same pharmaceutical company. But we've even seen like television late night shows being sponsored in part by Pfizer.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer.
On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I think even the Olympics was, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I recall this, but we've seen things like Stephen Colbert's show, and then where they did that really cringy dance, if you remember what I'm talking about, the jab dance, that was really weird. That was like 2 years ago, but it does seem like this proliferation within Hollywood in general of these pharmaceutical companies, coming in, sponsoring it. And then you see people like Pink and a couple of other celebrities like Michael Phelps. They're recently doing commercials for them as well. It's sort of strange because these people, they say they're on the left wing. Usually people on the left wing, traditionally speaking, have been more, skeptical of pharmaceutical companies and what they're doing. But I guess when it's paying their bottom line, it's all right. But I mean, we know these are not like real leftists. These are, fake leftists. I mean, this is just doing what's popular, I guess. And I guess these pharmaceutical companies are really, hatching on to knowing their audience. I guess people who would watch the Grammys are probably the same people who are consuming certain products of theirs. So I guess it sort of makes sense. They're not going to be targeting audiences they don't already have. Maybe. I just think it's a little weird, and it just shows the, irrelevancy of these, once great cultural, where it's like everyone used to watch the Grammys, everyone used to watch the Emmys. Like, these are sort of things, like, at least when I was a kid, it was, and even people older than me, it was kind of like a thing, like a whole American thing, but they become just so political. And like, obviously a performance like this is going to isolate a lot of people to want to turn off the television if they see sort of performances like that, because that's not even like appropriate for kids to really be around. Just, everything going on that stage, regardless of the imagery it's exposing, it goes beyond that as well for, I would say, a large portion of people, especially if children are watching. So I don't really understand why they keep doing what they're doing. I guess that's why they need to take pharmaceutical big bucks, is because they lack relevancy and their viewership keeps plummeting. So they're getting desperate, I guess. I don't know what type of companies used to sponsor these events in the past. I would assume it was not pharmaceutical companies, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to that. I don't know. This was a very strange performance, a very strange Grammys. I think all these award shows at this point are just like keep trying to like one up one another for, kind of being unholy. I guess that goes with the song. So what did you think of Sam Smith's performance? Did you like it, or were you like me and you thought it was kind of like, wow, Hollywood really is leaning into this imagery, even if they constantly say they are not? And it is always surprising when many of the celebrities in this room are like on their social media and talking about how they go to church and they're so godly and they're so religious and all of these things. And then they're at these events, they promote these events that basically would go against everything they say they believe in. But I'm not here to judge someone else's religion. It just kind of is something I'm noticing where consistently at these award events, these type of imagery stuff's just happening. It's kind of strange. When I was a kid, I just remember Hollywood at least appeared very differently in the public eye. Private, of course, all this degeneracy was always going on. But did you guys watch the Grammys last night? Were you happy with some of the people who won? I saw a lot of people were very upset that Harry Styles won Album of the Year over Beyonce. A lot of people like Beyonce, I guess, and people left the room. But did you watch it? Did you enjoy it? Did the people you want to win things win? Or are you like me and you don't really tune into these things? I get a lot of this information just because it's kind of getting plastered in front of you and it's hard not to know at least certain events and facts that happen during these events. Let me know in the comments below and make sure to subscribe and like this video. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye, guys.